A Christian Marine who was punished for posting Bible verses. The court upheld the court-martial and dishonorable discharge of Marine Lance Corporal Monifa Sterling. She refused to remove a Bible verse she posted at her desk in 2013. Her attorneys argued her punishment was a violation of her religious freedom and a landmark case that could set a military precedent for decades.
The bottom line is that service members shouldn't be punished for expressing their faith. We ask service members to do some of the hardest things in the world, and we shouldn't ask them to leave their faith behind, and we shouldn't punish them for expressing their faith in the workplace.
The scripture posted on Sterling's computer and desk was from Isaiah chapter 54, which reads, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper."
Under constant bombing, life is hard enough for the 300,000 people living in rebel-held Aleppo. And news just got worse with reports of another alleged chlorine attack overnight. Its victims included men, women, and young children. And for the few remaining doctors there, the relentless fighting and lack of supplies means they are faced with terrible choices. The 15 doctors who wrote to President Obama say there is an attack on a medical facility every 17 hours, 42 last month alone. We spoke via Skype to pediatrician Dr. Abu Al-Bara, who is in Aleppo tonight.
The bombing is a lot and injury is a lot.
He did not want to show his face. We have to choose who lives and who dies, he said, and that is something we have to live with every day. The doctors have accused the world, including the US, of failing to protect them. And he told us 95% of the casualties are civilians. We do not need tears, the doctors say. We need action. But with the fighting intensifying, the situation is now becoming dire for all of the 2 million people living in both government and rebel-held Aleppo. They are in danger of running out of food, fuel, and water.
A new video surfaced today in Nigeria. It purportedly shows some of the dozens of schoolgirls who were kidnapped by the terror group Boko Haram 2 years ago.
The video shows a masked man standing guard over the alleged group of abducted schoolgirls. The fighter called on the Nigerian government to release detained militants. If our members in detention are not freed, the man says, know that you will never find these girls again. The militant also warned the government to stop airstrikes. Boko Haram released video they claim shows several of the girls killed by government-led bombings. Nigerian officials are unable to confirm that. In the past 2 years, this schoolgirl says 40 of her classmates have married militants. One girl in the group is even seen holding a baby. Today's video is the third release by Boko Haram of the Chibok girls since they abducted more than 270 of them from their school in 2014.
For more than a year now, Americans have been told that the war against ISIS in Syria and Iraq has been going well, as were the U.S. efforts to train Iraqi soldiers. But today, a congressional task force said that intelligence was altered to make it appear that things were going better than they were. And it blamed U.S. Central Command, which runs the wars in the Middle East.
The task force was formed to investigate a whistleblower complaint filed by a senior analyst at CENTCOM that intelligence was being manipulated by command leadership. Republican Congressman Mike Pompeo is a member of the task force.
This information from talented career professionals inside the analytic arm at CENTCOM did their job and accurately depicted what was going on the ground. But when it got to very senior levels, that information was changed.
According to the report, starting around mid-2014, final intelligence reports and public statements issued by CENTCOM painted a rosier picture of the Iraqi army's strength than the initial assessments of its own analysts.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are making progress.
Such as when CENTCOM's then-commander, General Lloyd Austin, testified in March of 2015 that ISIS had been weakened in Iraq.
The fact is that he can no longer do what he did at the outset, which is to seize and to hold new territory. He has assumed a defensive crouch in Iraq.
Around the same time, a CENTCOM official stated the Iraqi army could soon be ready to launch a major offensive to retake the city of Mosul. A year and a half later, that still hasn't happened.
When we send young men and women out to fight for our country, They need to have straight-up intelligence providing them information about what they're up against.
Beatings, insults, sexual assault and murder are a daily reality facing hundreds of thousands of women in Peru. Now these protesters are acting out their frustrations on the steps of the Judiciary building and making sure their plea is heard by the government. Under the slogan, "Not one less," this is just a taste of the sentiment of those marching against violence inflicted on women, and the light punishment dished out to the attackers.
Outrage at two high-profile cases of gender violence has tapped into wider indignation that justice is not being done for women in Peru. And that, say protesters, has to change.
In one of the cases, Cindy Arlette Contreras was dragged by her hair through a hotel reception by her nude former boyfriend, Adriano Pozo. Despite the security camera images, Pozo was freed with a suspended sentence after judges ruled he'd not intended to rape or kill her. Contreras told CCTV the justice system is broken.
They saw the videos and they weren't considered important enough by the three judges to hand down a prison sentence. That leaves much to be desired for the whole country and for many victims like me who seek justice, because if such damning evidence isn't enough, what is? If the justice system doesn't respect, protect or safeguard women's right to live, who will? Is there a right more important than life?
26-year-old Contreras has become a symbol for the march after the video of the attack went viral in Peru. According to government figures, there are around 10 sex-based hate crime murders of women and 20 attempted murders every month. One reason why thousands in Peru are saying enough is enough. And they're marching not just in the capital, but in towns and cities across the country.
The United States is being handed over to the United Nations. Obama recently announced that he will bypass Congress and seek a United Nations Security Council resolution to outsource the United States nuclear policy to an international body. The Daily Caller reports the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action does not require congressional approval, but likely binds future U.S. government policy towards Iran. Obama's U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch wants to federalize the nation's police with the United Nations-backed Strong Cities Network. In 1999, Lynch was appointed by Bill Clinton to head the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York, and by 2002, according to Lynch's bio, she joined Hogan & Hartson LLP, now Hogan Lovells, as a partner in the firm's New York office. While in private practice, Ms. Lynch performed extensive pro bono work for the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, established to prosecute those responsible for human rights violations in the 1994 genocide in that country. Human rights violations where between 500,000 and 1 million Rwandans were killed by their own countrymen. Bill Clinton later apologized for standing by silently and doing nothing. The same company, Hogan Lovells, employed Gold Star father and recent Trump annoyance Khizr Khan. Lynch and Khan come from the Clinton Foundation stable of attorneys tied to Saudi Arabia, the Muslim Brotherhood, and a who's who of foreign dictators. Be forewarned, America, the Clintons and any of their lackeys will seek to hijack any and all crises for their own benefit. And with Saudi Arabia reportedly funding 20% of Hillary's campaign, it is vitally important to the aforementioned and other Clinton plants that Sharia law circumvent the U.S. Constitution.
I mean, we're talking about a woman who exclusively used a private server to trade our deepest, darkest secrets, knew the thing was hacked.
With the recent arrest